The language of touch is a language of intention. It is rarely accidental and almost never meaningless. A woman doesn't touch you in a certain way. Softly on your neck, slowly tracing your forearm, pressing her palm against your chest without some form of consciousness behind it. She may not be fully aware of her own gesture, but that doesn't mean it lacks significance. These moments are small in action, but immense emotional weight. They're not shouting for attention. They're quietly revealing curiosity, interest, or longing. And in a world where women are so often taught to withhold, to protect themselves, to fear being misinterpreted, a deliberate touch is a powerful offering. It's an ancient form of expression predating language. We were all once children who reached out to hold the hand of someone we trusted. That instinct never fully leaves us. When a woman touches a man in a way that feels personal, not playful or casual, but deliberate, she is in a way speaking the most vulnerable part of herself. She's not just saying, "I want you." She might be saying, "I feel safe with you." The hidden meaning behind her touch, or "I want you to see me beyond what I shallow the world." Her touch becomes the bridge between her emotional interior and her physical exterior. It is how she begins to make the abstract desire, curiosity, vulnerability into something real, tactile, and intimate. In these touches, there is often a pulse of anticipation, a question embedded in the gesture. Will you notice? Will you respond in kind? Not just physically, but emotionally. The woman isn't necessarily announcing a need for sex. She's expressing a desire for closeness, for a spark to be acknowledged. She's initiating connection through touch because it's the one language that can be falsified. You can say something you don't mean. You can perform interest. But touch, it betrays what's real. Her hand reaching toward you is not about possession. It's about revelation. There is always a choice when we are touched, to dismiss it, to misinterpret it, or to meet it with presence. The most erotic moments often begin not with nudity, not with seduction, but with a single touch that says, "I am here. Do you feel me?" When a girl touches you like that, don't just react. Feel the intention behind it. She might be saying more in that gesture than she ever could with words. Desire is often expressed in subtlety, not loud declarations. We tend to romanticize bold gestures, passionate kisses in the rain, confessions shouted across rooms, but real intimacy rarely enters with fanfare. It seeps in through the quietest cracks. A glance held a second too long, a shift in tone, a touch that lingers just past the point of politeness. These are the delicate signals that say, "I want you," but also, "I'm afraid you might not feel the same." Subtlety is the sacred language of longing. It's careful, tender, and laced with vulnerability. Women in particular have long mastered the art of restraint expression, not outer PL on emotional foreplay of manipulation, but as a form of protection. Society doesn't always allow them to be direct with their desire. They've been judged, punished, labeled, for wanting too much too soon, too openly. So desire for many has become something coded. She won't always tell you what she wants, but she will show you if you're paying attention. In her voice when it softens, in her breath when it quickens, in the way she leans towards you, offering more of herself without needing to ask for anything in return. These subtle cues are not qualms. They're the result of a woman carefully negotiating her own sense of safety, dignity, and longing. She wants to be seen, but only by someone who sees without taking. She wants to be desired, but only by someone who can hold her without overwhelming her. So instead of shouting her needs, she lets them slip through the cracks. And when you ignore these details, when you wait only for the explicit, you miss the most intimate parts of her story. It's easy to mistake subtlety for confusion or worse, disinterest. But subtlety is not absence. It's depth, it's artistry. It's the way a woman holds power over her own sensuality, not giving it away too easily, not hiding it entirely, but letting it unfold on her terms. If you pay attention, if you slow down, if you let go of your need for certainty, you'll see that these quiet invitations are far more profound than any overt proposition. Desire whispered is often more real than desire screamed. And the woman who dares to speak her wanting through touch, tone, and presence is not hiding. She's offering you a chance to meet her in the richness of that silence. The female erotic is deeply emotional, not just physical. It is rooted in the places where feeling meets imagination, where memory merges with sensation, and where connection matters more than mechanics. For many women, desire is not a switch that flips at the sight of bare skin. It is a slow ignition that begins. How trust sparks. Desire long before the first kiss, long before a hand ever grazes the body. It begins with how she feels in your presence, safe or guarded, seen or invisible, respected or reduced. Her arousal is not just about what you do to her body. It's about what you awaken in her mind, her heart, and her spirit. There is a profound emotional choreography that precedes the physical. It is built through small, consistent cues. How you speak to her. Whether you listen when she isn't asking for anything, how you respond to her boundaries. A woman's body does not open to someone she doesn't feel emotionally safe with. And if it does, it often comes with a cost. Disconnection, discontent, or regret. You cannot skip the emotional steps and expect the physical to be fulfilling. When a woman touches you in a way that hints at intimacy, she is not only expressing desire, she is also measuring emotional temperature. She is feeling for warmth, responsiveness, a sense of being held without being trapped. Arousal for women is layered. It comes with stories, with context, with associations that can either deepen her longing or shut it down entirely. Maybe she remembers being touched without consent in the past. Maybe she's been told her desire is dangerous. Maybe she's never been allowed to want without being shamed. So when she does offer that touch, when she crosses that invisible line to say, "I'm interested," understand the courage behind that act. She is choosing vulnerability. She's choosing to claim her desire on her own terms. And that desire, when met with emotional intelligence, can blossom into something extraordinary. When you connect with a woman emotionally, her body responds with a richness that is entirely reading her signals responsibly, different from performance. It's not just about pleasure. It's about surrender. Not of power, but of self-protection. When she feels emotionally held, she can open physically in ways that are not just erotic, but deeply transformative. Because for her, the act of sex is not just a physical transaction. It is a sacred expression of trust, of presence, of emotional truth. When you touch her in a way that honors that truth, she doesn't just feel aroused. She feels alive. Misreading signals is the result of emotional illiteracy. It's what happens when we've been taught to focus on the obvious words, actions, visible cues without understanding the emotional layers beneath them. We grew up thinking attraction looks like something loud and unmistakable, a bold move, a dramatic confession, a clear yes. But human beings, especially women, are often far more nuanced. Their desire is woven into tone, timing, tension. Their invitation may come wrapped in hesitation because it's not just about wanting. It's about safety, timing, trust. When a girl touches you softly, gently, maybe even hesitantly, and you misread that gesture, either as a full green light or as meaningless, it's not just a mistake. It's a missed moment to connect with her inner world. You're not just misinterpreting her body. You're bypassing her emotional language. And that misreading happens because many oafs haven't been taught to slow down, to tune in, to feel what's not being said. Emotional literacy requires us to be present, not just reactive. To ask ourselves, what does this touch mean in this moment? What does she need from me before she needs my body? A woman doesn't want to constantly explain herself. She doesn't want to be put in a position where every expression of affection must come with a warning label. And yet, so often that's what happens. She touches your arm while talking and suddenly there's pressure. She reaches for closeness, and instead of presence, she's met with assumption. Moving beyond performance-based intimacy, that's not connection, that's consumption. And when women experience that enough times, they stop offering the signal altogether. They retreat into silence. They protect their bodies with emotional armor. And slowly, the rich layered erotic language they speak becomes buried beneath mistrust. To be emotionally literate is to read the full page, not just a headline. It's noticing the pause in her voice, the way her body moves closer, but her eyes are scanning for safety. It's understanding that attraction doesn't always come as confidence. It often comes with fear. If you cannot see her hesitation, her vulnerability, her emotional nuance, then you don't really see her. You see your desire projected onto her body, and that is where this connection begins. When a girl touches you, don't flatten that experience into a yes or no. Let it breathe. Let it speak. Because the woman who dares to reach out to you is offering more than a physical cue. She's offering you a glimpse into her emotional self. And if you can't recognize that, you're not just reading the moment. You're losing the chance to be truly close to her. Consent is clarity. Curiosity is key. Connection is the goal. These three elements are the compass for navigating desire in a way that is respectful, attuned, and deeply fulfilling. Without clarity, touch becomes confusion. Without curiosity, we fall into assumptions.